In today's F1 game experiment, we are making every single IRL F1 driver transfer rumour true, and we're going to simulate a season to see who comes out on top. So we already know that Lewis Hamilton is in fact actually going to Ferrari, but what about the current rumours floating about in the world of Formula 1? Max Verstappen to Mercedes, Fernando Alonso then to Red Bull, Ricciardo getting that Red Bull drive to return to the team he once was in, opening up the door then maybe for Liam Lawson to go to Visa Cash App RB, and maybe Carlos Sainz finds himself at Aston Martin as a result. Well, we're going to dive in and simulate a season of this alternate F1 reality based off these rumours as we go to 5 red lights, and we're underway for the first race of the season at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's Verstappen in the Silver Arrow versus Alonso in the Red Bull. They're side by side into turn 1. Verstappen initially actually got the better launch and got into turn 1 first, but Fernando Alonso has come back with aggression to retake the lead of the Grand Prix. He was on pole position, and behind there's plenty of fighting going on. Piastri versus Russell, 3 wide between Hamilton, Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz respectively in the Ferrari, Red Bull and Aston Martin. Unbelievable. So a lot of the drivers that have actually changed teams and had a transfer in this alternate reality of ours are fighting each other straight away. Pretty cool to see. Ricciardo versus Carlos Sainz continues on in this Aston Martin v Red Bull battle, and already this is a very different landscape to Formula 1 to the one we're seeing at the moment, and it's very odd, I must say, to see Alonso in a Red Bull there leading the way from Verstappen in a chasing Mercedes car, as it's going to be Carlos Sainz who goes right round the outside of Ricciardo. He's on the soft compound, Carlos Sainz is. Ricciardo on the medium. You'll see we are simulating this with a 5-lap race. I'm going to be simulating the rest of the season with full-length races, and then for the last race of the season we'll come back and see the simulation replay over 25%, but the rest of it will be simulated with a full 100% race. But we're just doing a 5-lapper here just so we can get an illustration, because otherwise it would literally take 2 hours to actually simulate one race to actually show you in the replay cameras. But at the moment, plenty of fighting still going on then between Piastri and Russell. They were fighting pretty much from the get-go on lap 1. Hamilton in the Ferrari closing up, and could he make a move potentially for a podium for Ferrari? Meanwhile, his teammate not doing so great at the moment, down in P8. I wonder in this simulation if Leclerc is just like in real life facing some brake issues, because he is lacking a little bit of pace compared to Lewis at the moment. And then here is Verstappen chasing in the Mercedes. But right now, Alonso using that Red Bull performance to good use. This is using the F1 24 mod that I recently featured in a video, and this does have custom performance modding to try and match the pace we saw in real life of F1 2024. So the Red Bull still has that pace over, but the Mercedes is much improved. As you can see, Russell's managed to get past Piastri for P3, and now it's Hamilton versus the Australian, and in the Ferrari, Hamilton is going to go round the outside, the two jockeying for position. Piastri comes back at Hamilton, and they're going to be still side by side as they go down the hill through the winding twists and turns of that sector 2, but Hamilton will eventually get the better of Piastri. But Fernando Alonso in his first race for Red Bull is going to hold on for the P1. Verstappen leads a 2-3 for Mercedes, but Alonso, well, he's probably going to be thinking this is the start of El Plan as he wins his 33rd Formula 1 race in the car that used to occupy number 33. Instead, number 33 has to settle for second place in the Silver Arrow. But let's see how the, how the upgrades work over the season, of course, because R&D will be there for all these AI teams. Just like in real life, the pecking order may change, but right now it's a fantastic start for Alonso there. But we're now going to simulate through a shortened 10-race season and see how this plays out, see how the R&D plays out for Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren potentially, and see where we end up before the final race weekend of the season in Sao Paulo. And it looks like it's going to end up being a very, very great move for Fernando Alonso to be at Red Bull. Maybe not a surprise with how strong the Red Bull car is, but he leads the championship ahead of Leclerc, of all people, though. Basing off the first race, you wouldn't have thought Ferrari would be up there, but Leclerc second, Hamilton third. So Ferrari, in fact, are actually leading the Constructors' Championship in this scenario with Red Bull, yes, strong with Fernando Alonso, but maybe weaker with Daniel Ricciardo, not really getting back to grips with a top car, it would seem, in this simulation. And even though Mercedes started off the year strong, they're 4th and 5th with Verstappen leading George Russell. If we actually delve into the race results of this simulated season, we see some interesting results. We've got Leclerc off the back of a really poor first Bahrain Grand Prix. He actually went on to get back-to-back wins then in Jeddah, in Australia, then followed by back-to-back victories for Verstappen. So Verstappen in the Silver Arrow was able to get some success. 2 wins out of 9 races they've done in the simulation so far. That's not that bad. Alonso leads the championship with 2 wins to his name, but he's just been so consistent. He's done what Verstappen's doing right now in the Red Bull, and he's just has that baseline consistency of results there. He's only been off the podium once, and that was in the Belgium Grand Prix. Otherwise, he's been on the podium every other single race, whereas the likes of Verstappen, although he did get 2 wins in a row, then you've got those 2 7th places, which isn't too great. In one of those races, though, whilst he was getting 7th place, Russell got first. So what happened there at the British Grand Prix? Maybe just Russell galvanising some energy from the home fans. Lewis Hamilton was able to get 1 race win for his new team in Ferrari versus Leclerc's 3 wins. Leclerc had 3 wins. He's actually got the most wins out of everyone. And actually, you could kind of say this is kind of typical. You would actually kind of, believe it, that Leclerc's got the most wins in the year and still doesn't lead the championship somehow with Ferrari. Just Ferrari things, just his luck, really, in terms of that lack of consistency, though, with the, 2 8th places at Bahrain and the Spanish Grand Prix. Ricciardo's had a torrid return to Red Bull in this simulation, and unfortunately, McLaren and Aston Martin just haven't really been anywhere, with McLaren only getting 1 podium with Piastri right at the end of the season. And if we look at the R&D chart now, you can kind of see why this has played out like this. So Red Bull have that huge advantage at the start of the season. Ferrari were up there in the second best team, but then they've slowly, got a bit slower, and the chasing pack's got nearer. Mercedes got nearer. McLaren actually end the season ahead of Ferrari. Is there a chance, though, in the final race weekend for any sort of upset? Well, this is the new standings after the sprint race in Sao Paulo has been done, and Fernando Alonso gets a little bit more on Leclerc. 16 points between them, so it's for Fernando Alonso to lose this World Championship, but Ferrari are crowned the Constructors' Championship with the partnership of Hamilton and Leclerc, which I'm sure the Tifosi will be pretty damn happy about. But unfortunately, it's going to take a miracle for Leclerc to pull off a World Championship win. But Lando Norris starts on pole position, just showing the late season improvement by McLaren. Leclerc from the front row down to 3rd place in this 25% simulation of the final race of the season. Verstappen nipping at the heels of Leclerc as they're battling for 3rd and 4th place there. Russell climbing up to 2nd in the 2nd Silver Arrow. Alonso down to P5, but he doesn't need to really push that hard. He's got a 16-point margin, so it really has to go very poor for Alonso not to win this championship. But let's see. Fernando Alonso's not had the best career luck ever in these, last, many last few years of his career. So let's see if he can actually bring this home in this simulation as we watch his teammate Ricciardo battling Carlos Sainz. We started the simulation with Ricciardo and Sainz battling each other at Bahrain, and we're going to end this simulation with them battling each other in Sao Paulo here in the finale race here, as Ricciardo gets a good move done round the outside to get up into P7, and then there's a bit of a gap, and then it's Hamilton at the end of this train and headed by, well, it's Lando Norris just only marginally ahead of George Russell. So it's actually all very close between P1 and P6. So as we go on through the laps then, as we get on towards the end of stint 1 before the one and only pit stop here in this Brazilian Grand Prix finale, Norris is being caught by Russell. The Mercedes is going to pull out to the inside and dive down the inside there. And the two Brits, wheel to wheel. Russell will get up into first place. Lando Norris in the McLaren down to second. And that's going to invite in Leclerc to get a bit closer, along with Verstappen, though, also in that other Mercedes car. Norris is in. Russell stays out. Hamilton stays out. So the two former Mercedes teammates are the ones that stay out. Interestingly, and the rest come in for a bit of an undercut. But is there a chance maybe for Hamilton to do something in clean air, because he was in traffic that entire time? And as we now cut back to finally when they've made their pit stops, Russell's coming out, Hamilton's coming out, and Hamilton's actually very close to Russell there, a lot closer than he was pre the pit stop window, I think. And you'll actually find that Russell's been overtaken, so Norris, his undercut worked on Russell, but Hamilton did an overcut, and that's worked out for him, because he's overtaken Leclerc, Verstappen, Alonso. So very, very odd that Russell's been overtaken with an undercut from Norris, but Hamilton, doing the same kind of strategy, pitting on the same lap, has actually made an overcut work. So Hamilton's done some wonderful driving in the clean air then in the Ferrari to get ahead for a podium spot here in this final race maybe. As we go on to the last lap then, it will be Lando Norris taking McLaren's one and only victory, it would seem, in this season then, in the final race of the season. Hamilton's managed to overtake his former teammate for second place for Ferrari, Russell third, Verstappen fourth, Alonso down to P6. But you know what? He's played the Alan Prost method. He's just done the minimum, he's just finished the race in the points. Leclerc's one position ahead of him, so he's only going to gain 2 points on him. So that is going to mean in this alternate driver market madness reality come true, Fernando Alonso in a Red Bull is going to win this World Championship. El Plan has gone to absolute execution.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It might have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level at the very top is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion.
Guys, if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and let me know if there are any other scenarios and alternate universes you would like to see come to life in an F1 game experiment in the future. If you're new around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.